Now on Judge Mathis, is Max a dad?
So I told them, I bet you $1,000 I could adopt a child by the end of the summer.
He just says these ludicrous things.
Or has Scott been had?
I saw a commercial that told me I could adopt a third world orphan.
I know, the Feed the Children commercial.
They sent me Boris the Belarusian.
So this is your son, let me see. The child wouldn't even come to court for this nonsense.
Now on Judge Mathis.
Troubled kids, I was one. Gangs, jail, I was there. Second chances, I got one. Went to law school, became a lawyer, and then a judge. Now, I get to give second chances. In my courtroom, the disputes are real, the cases are real. It's time for hard decisions and tough love. Justice that makes a difference. That's what I'm about.
Plaintiff Max Geller says while he and the defendant were roommates, Max bet the defendant $1,000 that he could adopt a child within a year. And they signed a contract. Max insists for 80 cents a day, he adopted an orphan from a third world country. So he feels he won the bet and he wants his money. Defendant Scott Yanco says Max is an English major and he likes to play word games with everyone, which is exactly how they ended up in court today. Scott claims what Max did was sponsor a child, not adopt one. And therefore, Scott won the bet and wants to be paid. So he's countersuing.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Sir, I met the defendant in September of 2004. It's the beginning of the school year. We were paired up to be roommates by the college. Now, by May of 2005, it became clear that we had pretty much had enough of each other and we weren't going to be roommates any longer. Now, Scott is the kind of person who has really sleazy and pathetic means of meeting women.
That's not true, Your Honor.
One time he told me that he gave up meat. He became a vegetarian just so girls would think he was sensitive.
I was never a vegetarian.
Sensitive to animals.
I was never a vegetarian, Your Honor.
The point is, that's the kind of attitude that was prevailing on the night of May 2nd. Scott was saying how we were talking about how we were looking forward to next year, and Scott was saying how next year I'm going to adopt a dog. Now, Scott's not a great lover of animals. He hasn't followed through.
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
The point is, he doesn't want a dog to give it a nice home. He wants it to carry around town and have cute girls bend down and pet it. Oh, and let me give you my phone number. Oh.
No, I wanted the dog, Your Honor, because I enjoy dogs. I like having dogs.
What do you think
Grew
of
up with a dog.
He's either jealous of him getting girls or I don't know.
No.
I'm glad you're the judge on this
What
one.
girls?
That's
He doesn't get, the point is he doesn't get girls. And I told him that was a... She's not with him? Ask her. She's crazy. Furthermore, we'll get to... I mean, you have to be in order to be with him.
She's not crazy, Your Honor.
The point is, when we started talking about this dog, I told him that was a bad idea.
Why are we talking about this, sir?
We're talking about the dog because as soon as I told him he's going to adopt a dog, I told him, why don't I just adopt a child? You know, it'll be cuter than your dog, and it'll be able to do my dishes. I was just joking. We were in it.
You weren't joking. You meant it, Max.
I do not support slavery, Your Honor. I was not going to adopt a child just to be my maid. But I was just trying to make him feel bad for wanting to adopt a dog to meet women. Now, he told me that no one in their right mind would let me adopt a kid ever, that I was the most irresponsible person in the world. So I told them, I bet you $1,000 I could adopt a child by the end of the summer. You know, I was kidding. I mean, it's impossible for me to actually adopt a child. I had no idea, you know? So, but next thing I know, Scott's printed up this contract, which I happen to have right here if you'd like to see it.
What's the contract, sir?
This is the contract about me adopting a child, because he took me very seriously. I understand that this sounds ridiculous to you, but I'm very serious. We signed this contract, and what I did in order to satisfy the terms of the contract was I saw a commercial on television that told me for under 80 cents a day, I could provide nutritious meals. I could find... It's a service...
You're making my case for me,
I know,
Your
the
Honor.
Feed the Children commercial that's been coming on.
Adopt a third world orphan.
Right, I got you.
I sent them in my money, and they sent me Boris the
This is your
Belarusian.
son. Let me see. This is who you adopted?
Adopted.
Let me see it, sir.
Okay. He didn't even want to come to court. He just sent a picture.
He didn't even... You say the child wouldn't even come to court for this nonsense. You say, you can take my picture, Dad, but I'm not showing up for that nonsense.
He lives in Belarus.
You say, you own your own. Cute kid. Now, you're saying, however, that you just sponsor him over in a third world country?
Yes. The word they use on the commercial is adopt. So I think that
Sir, let me caution you about relying on the words of televangelists when you see them on television. Just because they use the word adoption when they say, send me 80 cents a week or a month for this starving child, the same child that's been starving for 20 years, you'd think the child would have grown up by then. Sometimes, maybe I'm wrong, but sometimes when I see that commercial, it looked like the same child I saw like 20 years ago, because they've been doing that for 20 years on these infomercials, and I said, let's let the child would have grown older by now. But anyhow, and I'm not making light of the circumstance. Certainly, there's a lot of famine and poverty in the third world country that we need to address. What do you have to say, sir? He said you owe him $1,000 because you all made an agreement that if he adopted a child, you would pay him.
Yes, sir. First of all, let me say, Max is a smart gentleman, and when I lived with him, he's very funny, but he has a propensity for arguing that is really just intolerable. He likes to play these
Debating or arguing?
Oh, he might think it's debating, but it's most certainly arguing.
Maybe he's majoring in law. You in pre-law or something? You want to be a lawyer?
Sir. He's an English major. He likes to play these word games. He starts arguments. That's how this started. I got good at ignoring them.
What do you want to do when you graduate?
President of the United States.
Right.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. I could be a great president.
See, he thinks this is
That's
exactly.
where you're going to start off, though, after college? Gotcha.
He gets into these arguments, and sometimes he's able to goad me into them, and that's exactly what this was. He just says these ludicrous things, asks you to argue with him. So I did say, yeah, let's sign in a contract, Max. You really think you can adopt a child this summer? That's fine. I'll agree that you can't adopt a child.
So did he?
Adopt a child? Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely not. He sponsored a child. These commercials he's talking about are adopt.
That's the way I would interpret it as well, as a sponsorship.
We'll be right back.